What's going on, guys? It's me, JV, coming to you live tonight from the East Bay on this Sunday, May 14th, 2023, Mother's Day here in the United States. If you're watching me from abroad today, it is Mother's Day in the USA. Anyway, the topic of discussion for this video, the reason why I wanted to film it or record this video, I should have done it last month. I just wanted to give my review about Santiago, Chile. I was in Chile last March from the 14th to the 21st. And we arrived to the airport from Bogota, Colombia on to the Arturo Merino Benitez airport it was on a Wednesday morning, like around 1 in the morning. And we were having some issues with the horrific, by the way, airline Avianca. I would not recommend flying in Avianca. It is a trash of an airliner. I'm sorry. The personnel is atrocious. The customer service is brutal. And they absolutely destroyed our luggage. They destroyed our luggage. When we got to the airport, I was so pissed off. I was going off, and the people at the airport were telling me, don't take it out on me. Go and complain to the airline. They're the one who are handling your luggage. But anyway, I was so upset. That airline, Avianca, if I had to give it a rating on the scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a -10. It was that bad. Probably the worst airline I've ever flown in my life. But anyway, I digress. So we got there like around 1 in the morning on Wednesday. We were having issues trying to get to our apartment because there weren't that many taxi options. So we took we used the Didi app, and this guy from Venezuela, very, very charming guy, very charismatic, a very nice young man, actually drove us to our apartment. And we got there like around 2 in the morning and fell like rocks once we got to our to the bedroom. I mean, we were just completely drained from the flight. It was a very, very, very long day. It started on like around midnight on Tuesday morning from Mexico City. We flew to Bogota. We got to Bogota like around 4 in the morning. We were there until 1:30 in the afternoon. We actually left the El Dorado airport, and we started doing a little bit of sightseeing in Bogota, and then came back to the airport and flew down to Santiago. And we got there, like I mentioned, like around midnight, 1 in the morning. But anyway, the first impressions that I get from the city, Santiago, I couldn't believe how expensive it is. I know that the medium income for Chileans is probably one of the highest in all of Latin America. It might be the highest in the entire continent. And I think that explains why it's a little bit more expensive than it is in other cities across the Western Hemisphere, south of the U.S. When we got there, the rate of exchange was $1 American for about 807 Chilean pesos. And I just didn't realize how expensive it was going to be. So we stayed in a place called Macul. That's the name of the neighborhood. It's south of the downtown area of Santiago. So we stayed there. We had to use the metro system, the Macul metro station, and we had to transport ourselves in the blue line to get to the red line, and then from the red line, that's where all the tourist attractions were. We actually went to pretty much all of them. I mean, we were at El Palacio de la Moneda. We were at La Plaza de Armas. We went to El Cerro de la Concepción, El Cerro de Santa Lucia. We went to the Tower of La Costanera. We went to even though we didn't go to the observatory deck because it was about 32,000 pesos, and I didn't have enough cash to actually climb up there. So we just were wandering around the various shops. There's a lot of outlets there, to clothing outlets on the first floor, and we were there for about I'd say about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we went back to our place. So we basically visited all of the tourist attractions. We also went to the National Cemetery, which was an absolute waste of time. I recommend you guys not to go to the cemetery. I saw a couple of, when I was doing my research, as I was getting ready to go down there, I came across a couple of videos that were talking about the National Cemetery and how it was one of the main tourist attractions. It was a complete waste of time. We were literally there for about 4 minutes and decided to go back because there was nothing there. It was we were the only ones. We were the only ones that were just hanging around the cemetery and decided to leave the area. One of the highlights of the trip, however, was not in Santiago, Chile. On the Saturday that we were there, we went to the bus terminal, and we rode to west to a port city called Valparaíso. It is approximately about an hour and 25 minutes from Santiago. We got there on a Saturday morning, and it was a spectacular place. I absolutely loved it. It reminded me a lot of San Francisco in the sense that it's a coastal city, and you see the fog coming in from the Pacific Ocean. The weather was very comparable to San Francisco. It was great. The streets, the hilly streets, the touristy parts of the city, it reminded me of Brazil and the favelas down there. You felt pretty much, you almost felt like you were in some exotic European city, whether it was Porto in Portugal, or if it felt like you were in some Spanish city or in Greece. It was just great, with the murals plastered all over the facades of the various buildings and houses there. There's a lot of tourists, as you can imagine. It was on a Saturday, so there was a lot of tourists there. The cuisine was great. We actually had some fish tacos and fish sticks as well, and it was an absolute blast. We were there for about, like I mentioned, about 6 hours or so, and then we decided to go to Viña del Mar. Viña del Mar is literally I'd say about a 23 to 25 minute bus ride south of Valparaíso. You get there very quickly. We were dropped off at the downtown area. We went to this very popular museum called El Museo de Franc. It's basically a bunch of statues that are throughout Chile. We didn't go inside of the museum. We were just taking pictures outside. And then from there, we went to the famous musical auditorium. It's literally on the other side of the museum, where they host a very popular musical festival that transcends the Chilean borders. It's very popular throughout Latin America. They've been having this festival on a yearly basis for multiple decades. If you ask anybody in Latin America about the Festival de Viña del Mar, they'll know what you're talking about. It is really, really a very, very popular event. The auditorium itself was very dilapidated. It wasn't very well kept. I don't know if they do this on purpose. I don't know if they, get it ready as the music festival approaches. But when we were there, it didn't look very nice. Then from there, we went back to Valparaíso. And then from Valparaíso, we went back to Santiago. We actually rode the bus back around 6 p.m. and got to Santiago like around 7:30 or so, 7:30-ish, as I like to say. One of the things that I like about Santiago is the fact when you went to the bus terminal, they actually give you like an open ticket. There is no set time that you have to be back. You can actually keep it open, so you can basically come back whenever you want, whenever you feel like it, as long as you don't exceed the closing hours of the bus terminal. You can actually come back whenever you want. So that's one of the things that I liked, as opposed to Mexico City, for example. When you go to Mexico City and you go to the bus terminal, you have to actually pick a time that you specifically want to come back. They don't give you that option of keeping an open ticket. So that's what I liked. One of the things that I liked about Santiago. The weather was spectacular. The weather was the summer was ending when we were there. It was starting to get into the fall season, but it was still pretty balmy weather. I'd say it was probably about it was oscillating between 75 to 85 degrees on average every single day that we were there. So the weather was great. I highly recommend, if you're a warm weather person, I highly recommend you go to Santiago around March and April. I think January and February are really warm, very hot summer months, probably the two hottest months of the year. I would not recommend going in those 2 months, but to me, ideally, March and April would be great, would be ideal for a warm weather person. As far as the food and the drinks, I would recommend eating a pino empanada. Those are really delicious. They come in various ingredients. I actually had one with pollo, which is a chicken empanada. It's called pino empanada. Very, very good. And as far as the drink, we actually had a drink at the Cerro de la Concepcion called mote con huesillo. Absolutely delicious. I loved it. It's a peachy flavored drink with a bunch of sunflower seeds basically at the bottom of the drink. Very, very sweet, very tasty. I highly recommend you drink a mote de huesillo. It doesn't have to be in El Cerro de la Concepcion. They pretty much have them all throughout Santiago, Chile. So those are two things that stuck in my craw when I was down there. But overall, I would say that Santiago and Chile as a whole is a beautiful country. Their metro system is really nice. It's much better than Mexico City, in my opinion. It's very well kept. It's a lot more organized. There isn't that many people as you see in Mexico City. It's very comparable to the metro system in Medellin. I'd say they are, on par, both of them, in Santiago and also in Medellin. I would give them a above average rating. Very easy to get to around the metro. That's basically the means of transportation that we use throughout our stay. And it was a very, very good system. The women are really beautiful, very underrated down in Santiago, and the weather lent itself to have women dressed very nicely. Very, very attractive women down there. Very underrated in my opinion. Everybody talks about Colombian women and Brazilian women and Venezuelan women, but women in Chile are, I think they should be talked about more. But anyway, that's a report that I can give. I don't want to dwell on this video and meander, so I'm gonna put an end to it. But overall, I would definitely suggest you travel to the country. Very easy to get around because it's a very narrow country, as you can imagine. So you can go to other cities. Valdivia would be another one. La Serena. We didn't get to go to those cities, but they're very close to Santiago, not just Valparaíso and Viña del Mar. Beautiful country, and I highly recommend it. And that's it. That's my report on Santiago de Chile. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day, weekend.